So welcome everybody to the Your Desired Success Foundation Mastermind. We are all about paying it forward, which is backed by the golden rule of do unto others as you would have done unto you. So when we're looking at the power of the mastermind, Napoleon Hill, who wrote the world famous book of success, Think and Grow Rich, along with other great books, he said about the mastermind, it is the principle through which you may borrow and use the education, the experience, the influence, and perhaps the capital of other people in carrying out your own plans in life. It is the principle through which you can accomplish in 1 year more than you could accomplish without it in a lifetime if you depended entirely on your own efforts for success. So this is the power of us coming together and leveraging and sharing, giving and receiving. So we've all got our numbers to set the tone of the call, and please go ahead, Tony.
The purpose of the mastermind is to share our value and connect with like-minded people in order to create wealth in all areas of our lives.
We're here to inspire and challenge each other to reach and exceed goals.
Each member is committed to their own success, as well as the success of every member of the group.
We are committed to meeting in person or virtually for 1 hour every week.
We are present. There is no multitasking or distractions during meetings.
We are collaborative. We listen without interrupting, lecturing, or judging.
We celebrate each other's successes without jealousy.
We are honest and participate by giving thoughtful feedback.
We are open and listen to different perspectives without being defensive or offering excuses.
We trust fellow members enough to share fully.
We are focused, but we also think it's important to have fun during meetings.
We are real and authentic. This is a no BS zone.
We allow ourselves to become completely aligned with each other and the high forces. One mind, one soul, one love.
Beautiful. So thank you everybody for just setting the foundation of the mastermind, helping us really get started. And as I said earlier on, the actual topic that we're going to be covering today is, forgotten the topic, affirm your way to success, which was, as I said, inspired by setting my goals and going through the affirmations, and the affirmations being in the present of achieving the goals. So it really helps you start shifting. And I remember I was listening to Bob Proctor, and Bob had said that he was told his way wasn't working, and he could see his way wasn't working back in the younger years when he was in his early 20s. And I believe it's Ray Stanford said to him, if you actually start reading this book, which has basically hundreds of people explaining that how they achieve success, and he said, I think they know a little bit more than you do. If you start studying these people and studying the laws, you'll notice that there's a way to achieve success and wealth in all areas of your life. And Bob realized that his way wasn't working. So one of the things that Bob had shared was he got told to write a goal on a card. I think it's a 5x7 card, and read it every day to himself. And through this process, even if he didn't believe it in the beginning, one thing he said was, when you're reading it every day, you start to believe it. You can't help but believe it. So initially, the logical brain, let's say, kicks in and says, no, you can't achieve that. The subconscious already has the belief systems in there to prevent anything happening. But at the same time, the more we're reading, the more we're basing. He said, I was actually confusing myself to start this belief that I could achieve it. And lo and behold, things started shifting. So when I was recently doing my goals and writing the affirmations as part of the goals, I started to realize, even just through that process, that I was actually believing I could achieve this. Now, obviously, to write a goal there has to be some level of seed inside that has a desire to achieve that goal. And there has to be a reason for achieving the goal. We can't just throw it out there. I mean, for instance, there's no point me saying that I'm going to run run along the court in the NBA and slam dunk the basketball, because you know what? I have no interest in that. So there's no way I'm going to do it, because there's nothing, no desire to do it. And also, I wasn't that good at basketball at school anyway. So to run with the ball would be a challenge, never mind to leave the ground and slam dunk it. However, there are things in my life that I have a burning desire to achieve. In many ways, I don't know how I'm going to achieve them. But at the same time, in reflection on my life, to who I am today, to what I've achieved today, at some point in my life, I didn't know how to achieve them. But I did have a desire to succeed in those areas. And even on this call right now, I didn't know how to facilitate a mastermind. I didn't know how to create a webinar and all that in the beginning, but I had a desire to do that and connect with more people around the world, and here we are. So when we're looking at affirmations, the one thing that I've done is focus it in the present tense and speaking to myself from a place of love and empowerment. And I'd love to hear from anyone on the call, anyone listening, what affirmations means to you and how you feel about it when you hear the word. Do you feel like it's all airy-fairy, it's hocus pocus, or are you really aligned and you're implementing them and you've noticed shifts? Is there anybody who'd like to open it up? Yeah, Callie, oh, wow.
I can't help myself. Affirmate, like just hearing you talk, because affirmation to me is just supporting you to feel it and embody it, the belief. So you could have an affirmation about anything. I'm a cow, I'm a cow, I'm a cow. And you're going to start feeling like your soul family are the cows out in the paddock. Like, you know what I mean? Like you start to embody the feeling of the statement. It could be anything. So you could run the 10, whatever race you were talking about earlier. You could do it even though you haven't got desire, because our mind is so powerful. But really, what we're here to experience what we want to really desire. And a lot of us are unaware of that until we go internal and really ask our intuition what that is in its full potential. Our mind gives us a certain amount of desire from what we've experienced, witnessed, and seen others do, and maybe we want to, you know, have that feeling in our life as well, that experience. But a true desire is when you tap into your intuition and ask your body wisdom what exactly the desire is. And as you get deeper to that, it potentially creates even with no affirmation, because it's the true desire.
Yeah, beautiful. Thanks, Kelly. Who else would like to share? Tony.
Yeah, I wrote some affirmation cards back in about 2011, I think it was, when I started going into the whole coaching journey. And the funny thing was, when I wrote them and I first started saying them, they seemed a little bit kind of out there, a bit airy-fairy, you know, and they didn't seem that real. But as I started repeating them, they started to make more sense to me. And the interesting thing is that when I look at them, most of them have either come true or are coming true, but I didn't know really how they would happen. So I thought that was an interesting aspect to it, is that you don't necessarily need to know the exact path to achieve the goal that you want to achieve, but by setting the goal and by reaffirming your belief that you can make it happen, then somehow you will attract to you the people or the circumstances that you need, or the skills that you need to go ahead and actually make it happen. So from personal experience, I can say it is actually really powerful. It just might seem a bit strange when you first do it. But if you can overcome that and actually carry those cards around with you, Or these days you could enter those affirmations on your mobile phone, for example, and have them as a reminder, a note that you could read each day. Just have them where it's going to work for you, whether it's a card in a wallet or a purse, or you put it on your phone, or you have it somewhere where you're going to see it above your computer or wherever you work. Just keeping it front of mind just brings that goal to fruition, even though you just don't know perhaps how it's actually going to come about.
Yeah, great idea there, Tony. And I know that I went through a period, and I've just shifted back into that period after a bit of a lapse, of not getting on my phone till around about 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock in the morning after I had done about 3 hours of my own thing. So I keep it off. I keep it on airplane mode. So I sleep with airplane mode on. So having the affirmations available in your notes, you don't have to turn your phone on to get all the notifications through, and therefore you're still offline if you're going to have it on your phone, which is something else to, if you're going to read first thing in the morning when you wake up and last thing at night before you go to bed, because I'm pretty confident we could all be honest with ourselves and say we're easily distracted if a message comes through, or like, oh, I'll just do that before I go to bed, and next thing, it's certainly like my life online. So anybody else?
Going on what Tony said about, putting them in your phone, I kind of followed Bob Proctor's lead on what I did is I have them all over the place. Like they're on the bathroom mirror, above my dresser. When I step out of the shower, I have it taped to the wall in the bathroom. Fortunately, I live alone, just with my mom, so I'm able to paste crap all over the place. So pretty much wherever I am, and taped on the dashboard of the car. I do carry one in my wallet, but unless I'm not in my wallet that often, so I found that to be kind of useless. When I have jeans on, back pocket. So because what Martin and Tony said is I kind of thought they were airy-fairy at the beginning too, because when I was new to personal development, I was like, oh, this is a bunch of crap. I'm just lying to myself. But okay, Bob Proctor says I paid a lot of money, so I'll just follow what the man said. And I just actually really started using them. And my focus then was more on the personal development, because I was a bit of a hot mess. So I had a lot of things to straighten out, and I knew what I wanted to straighten out on myself. So I've rounded multiple corners, and now I'm starting to use them for my goals. And if nothing else, because I'm still distant from my goals, but working on them, they do help reduce the fear factor. There's, I don't know, just something about putting that positive thought through my mind kind of knocks the chip off, the fear off, and that helps considerably. And so that's how I use them now. Right, wrong, or indifferent. That's what I do. So.
I love that, and I know, Nancy, you just want to share. But one of the things that came up for me, Karen, when you shared that, I just started laughing, because every Friday I speak to my mum, who's back in England, and she's got her affirmations all over the house, and my stepdad thinks she's actually losing the plot. He just can't fathom it, and he's not interested in all the personal development. He's happy in his own little world. But yeah, my mum's growing at such an insane rate, and she's also non-attached anymore to anything. When he brings anything up, she's like, "Oh well, it's just the way it is, Dave." And you can see he's confused. She says it's actually internally a funny experience, but obviously for somebody who's not in this and doing it at the same time, it can be. I'd assume it could be quite confusing when you're thinking, "What the hell is she or he doing?"
Oh, I go through that on a daily basis, and it is funny because as I grow, I find it easier to be like, okay, that's fine, that's cool, I'll be over here, Whereas I used to have such a hair trigger, big time. It's kind of genetic with our family. Well, we're loud Italians, so loud one. And I grew up with 3 brothers, so loud was always right. And even when it was wrong, it was right. And so that was one of the paradigms that I had to deal with, was dealing with my hair trigger and just not jump to the bait per se. from family, friends, or just life in general. And as time goes on, I'm finding it much easier just to like, yeah, whatever. Okay. I'm busy. I don't have time for this crap, you know, and just move on. And it's so freeing. And that's what I try to tell people, because I just had a birthday last week, and one of my brothers is like, wow, you are really mellowing out as you get older. I'm like, yeah, well, I don't want to be in, you know, I don't feel like going around the bend before my time. What can I say? You know, I'm like, I couldn't keep living like that. It's stressing me out completely, and it's getting me nowhere, you know. And so because I was one of the more high strung of us, and well, I was the most high strung of us. And so my brothers just kind of laugh now at that, how mellow that oh boy, she's the old girl's getting mellow as she gets older. And I'm like, yeah, I still got a bite though, so don't push too hard, you know. But it is very freeing to not have that to I spent 2 years saying in my head, respond, don't react, respond, don't react. I must have said that 1,000 times a day to myself in my head. Every time somebody got me, you know, tweaked, I just would clench my jaw and be like, respond, don't react. Respond, breathe, respond, don't react. And, you know, put your hands down, don't scream. And it's just, now it's a lifestyle for me. So it's extremely freeing. And, you know, it feels life's much better now. So I'll say that.
Yeah, Nancy.
Yeah, so well, a few things have occurred to me just with the term affirmation, that it can mean a whole lot of different things, and you know, can operate at a lot of different levels. And so the first thing is that I first felt like this little bit of resistance about affirmations. Not that I've never used them, but because right now I'm really deep in the process of creating a course, a coaching course. So as a transformational life coach, we access, you know, limiting beliefs, if you will, by using particular methodology, and we help folks to embrace more empowering beliefs as part of that methodology. And so there's just one way to do it. But then it occurred to me that every single day on my Giving Women page, I'm putting these little blurbs out that they're one type of affirmation, except that it's, for me, they're what I think of as truths. You know, they're less about, you know, you're going to meet your goals today, as it is, you know, that life is happening for you rather than to you. And it's that kind of thing. So, but then just within the last couple of days, I opened up one of the drawers in my bathroom, and I saw that there was this little Post-it note that when I was doing part of the Freedom Era and doing their money mindset curriculum, I had a bunch of these Post-its up there about money. And I took them down one time because somebody was maybe visiting or something like that. Like you said, it's like it just decided not to have the Post-it notes all over the bathroom mirror. And what I remembered, I looked at this one and it was like, those were really helpful because they were so specific. They were dealing with, like specific numbers and goals, but then there's another part of me that goes, you know, you got to be careful with your phrasing, right? So if I want to make $1 million in a year, you might want to say, I would like to make at least $1 million in a year or something like that, because they can be limiting too. So anyway, I didn't mean to get off on a tangent, but it brings up a lot of things for me. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Isn't it funny how when you said though, Nancy, about removing them because of people coming over, would you feel that was because of what they might think and say about it?
I just kind of felt like I didn't feel like explaining it. You know what I mean? I mean, it's fine. And it's like, everybody knows that I'm steeped in personal growth, and sometimes I just don't need everybody to look at my Post-its all over. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you mean. I do know when that point of, I just can't be bothered explaining this. Like,
yeah,
I'm
because
living it. I'm in it.
Exactly, because you can't really do it justice on the
No.
spot, you know. Yeah.
And it's only if people are truly interested rather than just making conversation.
Right, which is the beautiful thing about this group and these masterminds, is to be with others who are actually interested in speaking about these things.
I think a lot of people that don't understand it or aren't involved in it are quick to poo-poo it. I mean, because I'm constantly telling friends and family, look, it's not voodoo, it's personal development, you know, come on, you know, it's just, and, you know, some of them just roll their eyes and think you're getting all new agey and whatnot. And it's like, well, you know I'm happier. I know I'm moving closer to what I want. That's all I need to know. And thank you for your opinion, but no, thank you. You know, so, but I do, it is difficult to, Nancy, like you said, you can't really do it justice by giving it the quick 30-second synopsis while somebody's using your bathroom, you know, excuse me while I rip down 50 Post-its, you know.
Exactly.
Anymore, I'm just like, enjoy the view. I hope you learned something, you know.
Yeah,
Just, you know,
yeah.
I used to do that, and now I'm like, no, because then after somebody leaves, I find myself going through bathroom drawers and and now I'm like, you know what, I don't care. Just enjoy the read. Have a good read. Hope you learn something.
Yeah.
If not, you know, whatever. So, but yes, the masterminds here are so valuable to be able to talk to people that understand, that get what you're saying, that you know, and can help you through your speed bumps, if you will, because I know I've had tremendous help from a lot of you, and I do always appreciate it.
Martin, can I just ask a question of the group? If you feel embarrassed about having your Post-it notes there and people maybe seeing it and reading it, is some of that because you're doubting yourself whether you might be able to achieve them?
Personally, I kind of just feel like it's just not anybody's business. And it's just kind of like, for me, it has a lot more to do with, yeah, I mean, I guess if, you know, if they just wanted to keep it to themselves, or, I mean, I just don't want to have the conversation, depending on who it is. If you guys came over, they would stay up. So I think that's it for me, is just like, just a choice not to, because I do have frustration when you want to try to broach a subject that I feel like when you can't really do a subject justice. So yeah, it just feels, no, there's a problem in that I didn't get them right back up on the mirror. You know, so then I lost out because I forgot to put them back up.
I used to take them down to avoid ridicule and cheap shots, and I just didn't want to deal with that. So, but now I've just reached a point where, honestly, I think in the back of my head, which isn't right because it is judgmental, if you choose to stay ignorant, please don't make it my problem. That's the attitude that I have. I don't say that out loud all the time, but for the most part, I say it depends on who it is. If it's one of my brothers being jerky, I'll hit them up beside the head with that. But you know, for the most part, I just say it in my head and smile and walk away, and feel like feel almost like I'm in on a secret that I would love to share with you, but you're too busy laughing at me to listen to it. So I don't, I don't waste my time trying to share this information with somebody that chooses to be tone deaf about it. If you're open and you're interested, I'll explain everything. I'll give you books. I'll introduce you, whatever. But if all that you have is ridicule and scoffing, well, have a nice day and enjoy the other 97% you're hanging with. So that's just my thinking on it.
And it's where people are at that moment in time, isn't it? I mean, I can remember, so I'd have been 16, 17, and my boss at the time, we were delivering some work we had created, and he was listening to the radio, and it was a talk radio, and all I listened to was music. So I'm like, what is this crap? Oh, it's boring, it's putting me to sleep. And they were obviously having conversation about whatever topic it was. And it was really interesting how, I mean, granted, they were having a discussion, but it's really interesting in January this year, whilst I was driving down the East Coast with one of my mates, when he was driving, he had his music on, and that was cool. And it was actually putting me to sleep. And it was like Ibiza chill out music. So you can imagine like being in a bar, having a drink, watching the sunset, all relaxed, and it's just nice music. But it's putting me to sleep. When I'm driving, I've got Jim Rowan on, I've got Les Brown on. I'm just like energy, and he's sat there going, "What is this crap?" I'm like, "You just go to sleep." But I'm bringing it all in because I'm open and ready for that information at that time and ready for receiving it. Yeah, I know that if I had listened to that back then, I'd have said the same. What is this crap? Because just where I was at and what I was exposed to. The other thing that was coming up for me when after you had asked that question, Tony, was around accountability. So some of us will say, like, we'll take a picture of us in this moment, like maybe just in our our underwear or shorts and bikini, whatever, and say, I'm about to start a health challenge. And I'm putting it out there because I want to be kept accountable. I want to really make the world know, the universe know, all the people around me know that I'm going to do this over the next 12, 16 weeks, whatever it's going to be. So that when we do that, I've done that in the past. When we've done that, I found that I'm using people's opinions of me to drive me to succeed. Whereas if I'd kept it to myself, it's easy for me to just stop and not do it because there's only me to keep myself accountable. But in all fairness, the most important person is me. And it shouldn't matter what anybody else's opinion is of what I'm doing or what I'm not doing. So with what you said there, Tony, what came up for me as you asked that question was, wow, it's interesting how we view it differently, and using Nancy's example there of removing the post-it notes. And it's not to say that what you did was right or wrong, Nancy, by any way. There's no judgment here because it was what was right for you. Was that, if I was in that situation and I kept them up and people had come and said, well, what's that about, and poo-pooed it or empowered and supported me, how would I have gone, well, do I really need their opinion? Do I really need their support? Because if I do, then why haven't I got that support already inside me to go and achieve what I want to achieve? What's missing inside of me? And I've come to realize, and it's taken me a long time, but I've come to realize that I am my best accountability partner. Because if I'm not achieving in the things that I desire and I'm not taking the action towards my goals that I know are going to get me the results, why am I not doing that? And I have to find where the disconnection is, because nothing external is going to help me achieve it if internal is floundering somewhere else. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. That last part especially, there's that accountability, and it's kind of an MO of mine. And it's interesting because I was just thinking about this, and I don't remember what the example was, but I was remembering back to when I used to be a court stenographer. And when we were taking our state board exams, it was like, the girls it was mostly women, there were some guys, but everybody was staying at the hotel together, and they were all like doing these practice sessions together and really just like with each other and stuff. It's like, I didn't want to be anywhere near that. I was in my apartment practicing. I was really lucky because he wasn't my husband at the time, but my husband to be he worked for the hotel, and he literally let me in, like just right before my test. He let me in the back door, and I just slipped into line, went, sat down, did my thing. So it's like sometimes that extra energy of feeling that I need to explain anything to anybody, that it's just like, and it's kind of how I operate. And, you know, one of my patterns through my life has also been taking sometimes the way that I operate and going, you know, because it's maybe different, that, oh, I should be more, you know, like, no, I should be more, you know, like everybody else. And it's disempowering when I go down that road, you know? So like you, I just really, yeah, it's my inside game. It's like, I don't need everybody to come into my inside game. You know what I mean? It's kind of like brings a little bit of baggage. And I bring it to you guys, or I bring it, you know, to a space where it can be, I don't know, just more, I don't know, easier, I guess.
Unpacked through sharing and respecting everyone's opinions on this is going to be from a place of respect. Would that be right?
Thank you. Yes. Yeah.
Powerful.
Can I just add something in, Martin? I was just this week, since we've been talking about it more, using the abundance game in the back end of the Noble Golden platform. And what I found was I'd written a load of affirmations a few years ago, as I mentioned before, but they didn't necessarily relate specifically to the exact goals that I was setting. So what I did was yesterday I went back through, and all the goals that I put into the system, I then went to each goal and I put an affirmation that would link directly to that goal, which is something I hadn't actually thought about doing until I followed the abundance game. And so now instead of just having, I think I had about 10 affirmations, I've now got at least about 25 or something. So it's going to take me a lot longer to get through those. But it seemed to me, it gave it that extra power, that extra supporting belief that the goal is possible and that I can see myself achieving it. So that's just a tip for people. I found that a really useful exercise to go back through and do that.
And can I just ask you, Tony, you mentioned then around when you're going to go through your affirmations now, it's going to take you more time. And the one thing that is the biggest excuse for basically all of us is, oh, I haven't got the time. So now that you're going to go through and read your affirmations that are more aligned with your goals, and in fairness, you've been teaching goals for a long time.
Yeah.
So now you've just taken it up to the next level, which is a clear sign that we're always learning, no matter how long we've been doing something and what we're skilled in. So do you feel that you committing more time to going through your affirmations, whether it's an extra few minutes or even now a couple of hours or whatever it would be, is going to be more aligned with where you're at and more aligned with where you want to go right now? So you're committed to giving that time?
Yeah, because it's the power of the mind. A few people have mentioned that earlier in the call. When you focus on something, you know, then suddenly you're making it, it's on your reticular activating system. You're zooming in on that thing, and suddenly the resources or the people you need to meet or the skills that you need to acquire, they come into your world because you're looking for them. You're consciously looking out for those signs. They were there before and you were missing them. They're just blowing past like tumbleweed in a Western movie, you know. But suddenly you're zooming in on them and you're going, that's something I need to help me achieve this goal. So those things just start to come to you. And yeah, you're absolutely right. I've been teaching this stuff for years, and then you sort of sometimes need to step back and go, hang on a minute, I'm fully applying everything that I'm teaching other people. You know, I should be The one person I really need to be coaching the most is myself all the time. And it's through teaching other people that you reinforce those messages, definitely. So yeah, absolutely. When you write it down and you reaffirm it, you're bringing it into the forefront of your mind. You're putting the focus on, and you're putting the emotion into it too. That solidifies your belief in your capability of making it happen. And the only reason I haven't got them on my bathroom mirror is I don't think my wife would be too happy about that. It would be messing up the bathroom in her mind. But and then again, she's changing and starting to get into all this personal development stuff. I've created a monster lately. She's she's zooming ahead now, getting into all this stuff. So who knows what might happen? You might find a completely different bathroom in our house in a few months' time.
Don't deny that you've been using your lipstick to write your affirmations on the mirror.
A new MSI bathroom wallpaper with affirmations.
Has anybody heard of the YouTube channel Rockstar Affirmations?
Yeah.
That's a brilliant one.
Yeah, Mark promotes that on his Monday night calls.
Yeah, it's really, really good. So Rockstar Affirmations, you can basically put in pretty much anything that you want in any area, and you can listen to minutes to a long time of affirmations. And I have to say, when I started implementing it, when I heard about it and was implementing it, it was amazing what was shifting through just lying there and listening to these affirmations. And because I don't know the terminology for it, but it comes through the left, center, and the right. So there's 3 voices on a lot of them. So I would shift over and be conscious of what was said here, and I'd say that one, then I'd go into the middle. So because for me, I wander a lot. I just tend to just go off, and that's why one of the things I struggle with, sitting still meditation. I'm an active meditator. So when I'm doing the Rockstar affirmations, I'm actually focused on it, and I'm going through them, and I'm repeating them. So therefore, it keeps me in that space for that period of time, whether it's 10 minutes or 30 minutes. And it's amazing, even when I sit down for 30 minutes, because I do tend to go, 30 minutes of affirmations, really? And inside, I know it's a good thing, but I'm like lying down for 30 minutes doing affirmations. But then all of a sudden, it just goes quiet as it's finished. And you think, wow, I just did 30 minutes for me, which is big, which is, a lot of us don't give ourselves that time. And certainly that level of conscious love. So it's really empowering. I encourage you guys to look into it.
Sorry, I just want to add something else again. So it just occurred to me while you were talking there, really sort of hit home, is that one of the things why we feel a little bit strange with affirmations when we first say them is that we're talking in the present tense. So we're describing how we are achieving this goal. Well, in order to achieve the goal, we need to change ourselves first. So by that follows then that we're not that person yet, maybe, to achieve that goal, or we'd already be achieving it. So we have to grow into the person who is capable of achieving that goal. And that's why it feels a little bit, it doesn't quite fit me at the moment to say, if you say I'm a person who's capable of earning $1 million a year, and you don't feel like that person, otherwise you would be earning $1 million a year already. Do you see what I mean? So in order to grow into that role, you have to sort of start to believe it. And the only way you're going to start to believe it is to put that emotion there, and to actually, by repetition, ram home the possibility that you could be that person. And then gradually you start to believe, yes, actually I am that person. I've just got to acquire a few new skills, or, change how I think about things and change my focus, and I can become that person. So that's where that sort of uncomfortable feeling can come from, is because if you were that person, you'd already be doing it. So something needs to change for it to happen, for you to make it happen.
Absolutely.
And the repetition is powerful, because the reason we're carrying the more limiting aspects of our beliefs is through repetition. And so, and that's what the first thing I wrote down, Tony, was the repetition aspect, because it was bumping up against sort of like, okay, well, like I said, there are methodologies where you can kind of zero in there, but repetition would be totally valid, because repetition is what set the original beliefs in place.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Okay, I'm ready.
Mine.
So, you guys have said so much, and I was trying to listen to you guys and not remember what I wanted to say. So I'm going to try to piece this together. First, I got Outwitting the Devil. So woohoo, finally got it. Two, we're talking about affirmations. And for me, my affirmation is my goal. So I affirm my goal. That's the affirmation that I have. So I want to say that. Also, when we're talking about repetition and we're talking about feeling and the emotion. So I don't read it. Well, sometimes I do. I listen to Feeling is the Secret by Neville Goddard. And I've been listening to it for 30 days. I started reading it before that. And it's really funny because right before this mastermind call, I was reading it because this is the only time I have really to do it. And I had my perception of it was totally different. Like I looked at the book in a totally different way. I got a whole, different, I guess I just grew as a person over the last how many ever day, or since yesterday, I've grown as a person. So now I'm listening to the book differently. And then I got on this call and you guys are all talking about it. So just affirmed it a little bit more. But the repetition aspect of it, listening to the same thing over and over and over again. And then in this book, they talk about feeling it as if it's already happening. So instead of saying, I will be healthy, saying that you are already healthy. I am healthy. Because, with I will be, that's implying that you're not already. Right. So just listening to this over and over and hearing that over and over and understanding the, power of sleep and prayer and all of that has really been transformational. And that's all from just listening to this book over and over again. So the repetition part. So all of that. And then the last thing Tony said, I was thinking about goals are not to get, they're to grow. So you set the goal, of course, and then you have to become that person to get to, the thing that you're seeking. So you don't really set the goal for what you're going to get in the end. You set the goal for who you're going to become in the process to get it. So yeah, all of that. I think that's the gist of what I wanted to say. Thank you all for listening to that spiel.
That was awesome. Thank you, Maya.
You're welcome.
I just want to add my bit because I agree with everything, but I also know that everything we're saying, if I don't feel it in my heart as its true desire, it can still create, but it won't be at the most internal joy connection that I've ever experienced. Like I can, yes, manifest the BMW, and I have without trying, and got given it a brand new one. But the internal joy of receiving it was only short term, like a week or so, because it's not really my choice to buy the car. Like when it comes from internal choice, your heart point, your choice point, and it's in its true felt destination in there, like right in the core, then when you receive what you're searching for in your goal is felt, that is what you're searching for, the feeling. And like, if we sat here and I got you all to close your eyes right now and felt into your actual goals you've been affirming, and you took it into the heart, right into the back of the point of light in your heart, you would get to feel a difference to just an affirmation. And I'd love to do that with you, but I know that's not this class. But if you did it for yourselves in your own time when we get off, and you take it right in there, because you've already been affirming the goal for however many weeks for Nancy with her stick-it notes, and for Martin, whatever your desire is for retirement. But you know how it's about feeling it and feeling it like Maya said, it's already happened. But you can't do that in your mind. You can, but it's not as successful as in your heart, because our heart is the embodiment piece. Our mind is not full embodiment.
So Kelly, do you feel then that that comes right the way back to the why then of it?
Yes, you're not looking for the why benefit because you don't know what it is till you receive it. But unconsciously, we are looking for the why benefit. The why benefit is the joy of receiving. It is the validation of what you receive in your goal, that you are valuable to the universe. You're enough. You're worth it. And when we receive, because we believe in our heart and our love connection to everything and receive these goals, it is the actual receiving, and it's like the essence after you receive, like that joyful part. And I don't know what you guys all have received lately, but when you check into that, where does it sit in your body? And if it's in your mind, it's not as successful as you truly desire. If it's in your heart, that is true success because it's embodied. And it's a feeling, and that connects you, that entire embodied feeling connects you to all that is, limit potential. And when you make it to there, you can ask for anything and it will be received because you're in full alignment to limitless possibility.
Yeah,
and it's a true feeling.
Awesome share. Thank you so much, Kelly. And is there anyone who hasn't spoken yet who wants to share? Just so that everyone has their opportunity, if you guys want to share. Stan or Albert? No? You're good?
No, I'm okay. I'm a firm believer in you have two ears and one mouth for a reason.
I love how you sit back and absorb, mate. You're like a sponge.
I've been doing affirmations for years. I think it started right at the beginning when I started personal growth and development, and they talked about doing affirmations, and I've just done it morning and night ever since.
And how do you feel it's worked for you, Stan? Have you got any examples of what you do? What align with you, if you're happy to share?
Look, some have worked and some have been working on me, I suppose. The longer term goals where you're not sure how it's going to happen, but you just keep going with affirmation anyway. Yeah, and then a lot of it was, we started off with a lot of sales stuff. I'm not, but now I've switched to more goal orientated stuff as well. So.
Yeah, cool. So would you say then your business success and the finance success is a byproduct of the person you're becoming and the work you're doing on yourself?
Of course.
Yeah. The reason why I asked that question is I had somebody reach out to me last night and say, and when I said about, look, I really believe that it would be of benefit to you. I believe it's a benefit to everybody to access the abundance game. I mean, it's free. It's a free software, so I don't understand why anybody wouldn't. And this person came back to me and said, oh, is it to do with the business? And I was like, your success in you as a person, it will help your success in your business. And he's like, no, I'm only interested in the business success. I said, I'll tell you right now, if that's what you're focused on, you're never going to achieve, because you've not done anything anyway in that time. Just kind of like throwing mud against the wall and seeing what sticks. But in all fairness, there's no wall there. So you're just throwing it in midair and it's blowing away. It's like, we watched a documentary last night on the soil and how, especially in America, how it's just blown up into dust because they've destroyed the land through tilling and sprays and so on. And it's like that. It's just literally blowing away. There's nothing being built. And I said, you have to start with your goals and your affirmations. You have to get clear on that and you have to work on yourself. It was like, I may as well have talked to the brick wall. And it's really interesting how people just can't see it. And yeah, I had to. And in that moment, you know, everything's obviously a reflection of where we're at and teaching us as well at the same time. It's like, once again, I know now I can't help everybody. I can only help those who are ready to be helped. And it's a big one. And in fairness, I started reflecting then back on my goals and my affirmations. And that thing of where we were saying before around accountability, I can only be accountable for myself. When I reached out to one of my friends earlier on in the year and I said, look, I want you to be my accountability partner. And he's nothing to do with the businesses, doesn't do any personal development. And he's like, yeah, no problem. And to be fair, he checked in with me and I hadn't even started at this point. And he's like, when are we doing it? And I'm like, oh, I don't know. I've just got to get through some stuff. I didn't end up doing it. And in all fairness, throughout all of the years, even when I used to go to the gym, I never had a gym buddy because I didn't want one. I didn't want to give my power away because if they rang me and said, oh, I don't feel like going, I'd probably go, oh yeah, forget it. I was like, it's me. If I want it, it's down to me. If they want to come in and join and train with me, cool, but I'm not having a gym buddy. So I always made it very clear that it was always down to myself. So it's been interesting with what's been happening around me and people coming in, and it's that thing. I don't push people away because I know I get value, like you guys right here on the calls and the people around me. I'm always learning and growing. But at the same time, I've come to that realization that I am my best accountability buddy. And as I said earlier on, and then with accessing the abundance game, would you guys like to see what I put together in regards to my goals and affirmations when I went through them all? Would you like me to share that with you?
Sure.
Yep. Bear with me. Let me bring it up. So I'm actually going to put this into the group. So let me. Oh, hang on a minute. Not sharing yet. Why is it not sharing? Ah, here we go. Give me a thumbs up when you can see the share. I can only see Stan. Yeah, thumbs up. Okay, cool. So I'm going to actually put this into the Your Desired Success group. I created this, and what I did was I went through the wheel of life. So some of you will be familiar with that. So you've got different areas. So spiritual goals. Watch your sunset at least once per week. Watch your sunrise at least once per week. And go to the beach at least once per week. So some of them are life goals. Some of them are short goals, medium, long term, and so on. And then I did a spiritual affirmation alongside. So I am grateful and worthy to receive the love nature provides. I always write it as in gratitude. Everyone has different ways of doing it, but I write it from a place of gratitude. I am grateful for taking the time to fill my soul. One of the things that we just mentioned before, especially with what Callie said about the feeling and connecting to the heart, I shared one of my goals is to be retired at 40 and travel around Australia and have my 4-wheel drive and have my caravan. And that's all really exciting, and I'm so grateful that it's all happening in my life. But I know for a fact that right now I'm excited and I'm filling with joy at the ability to be super present in a piece of land, maybe watching the moon come up, but I can't be in that moment feeling exactly what it's going to be like until I'm there. So I'm excited for it, and I'm like really, really looking forward to it. But at the same time, it's only when I'm in that moment will I truly feel the love that's being given to me from the earth, the environment. So when I've gone through my goals here, relationship, which is around family, friends, partners, and etc., I've then done the affirmations, like Tony was saying. So when I then went into the abundance game and I went into my affirmations, I've then created my affirmations, and calm yourself down when you see that, Tony. And the finances here, and I've written all my gratitude and my affirmation towards it all around everything that's going to bring in that financial freedom and the figure amount and all the things that are going to happen. My physical health, I'm grateful for my physical body. I'm grateful for all that I am. I'm grateful for all the healthy nutrition available to support my strong body. the speaking on stage, accessing the abundance. So I'm able to go in, and I'm a visual learner. So this is what I love about it, the pictures. Some of you may have heard of Scrooge McDuck from, I forgot what it's called now, but he was all about his money. So and it's just a bit of fun. So when I see that, it reminds me of being a child because I loved that cartoon, and it's also fun. So Tony Robbins there speaking to thousands, because one of my goals, my life goals, is to travel around the world and speak for free and share what I know and what I love, and empower other people to make the choices, and for them to understand that what's happening in their life or happened in their life has happened for them, and they can learn and grow from that. So all these images, you know, traveling Australia with the 4-wheel drive and the caravan, and accessing the universal laws, which is something I'm really ready to dive deep into. Friendships, my family, you know, my business growth, the masterminds, time in nature, love for self is a big one that I've put a lot of energy into. The mindset expansion and the safe environment that I'm blessed to live in. Like all these things, all these affirmations that are listed here I've put them together. I've spent literally the last week since our last call putting this together so that I can be clear on what I want to achieve, where I'm going, who I am. And as I said, everything that's got a goal is backed up by an affirmation. So they're all 100% aligned. And one of the things that came to me that was said, and I've shared this on another call, when Bob Proctor was running one of his courses, and he spoke to the person in front of him and said, how would your life change if your monthly income became your weekly income? And the guy was like, I don't know. So he asked somebody else, and that person was like, be pretty cool. He's like, how would it be cool? And they're like, I don't know. So it's great to have these goals of these, you know, most people's goals is $10,000 a month to be free. Well, what would you do with $10,000 a month? Why are you worthy of getting $10,000 a month? Because the universe isn't going to give it you unless it knows why you're worthy of it and what you're going to do with it. Because it has to flow. Can't be like Scrooge McDuck and just building it up all in the bank account and then skiing down all the coins. That isn't what it's about. So all of this stuff over the last week, it's taken me a lot of time to sit there and some of my, and I found myself at times going, so I'm going to the next level. So I'm putting all the pictures into Canva and then putting them in there. So I'm very particular about how I do stuff. For instance, I uploaded the original picture of me from when I had finished my body transformation thing, and it crushed the picture. Well, I can't cope with that. Like that to me is like, no. So I have to get it so it's all proportion right. Because I'm visual. So it's taken me a lot longer. However, when I access it, instead of me going, oh, the picture's not right, my focus is on, I see the picture, I'm instantly aligned into the affirmation or into the goal. And therefore, I'm constantly striving forward instead of being stalled. Does this make sense? And the power of what we've got at our fingertips. And I can only express based on my own personal experience that this tool that Mark Santos has been so kind to give us for free is actually having a huge impact on my life and achieving my goals. Because not only because it's there, but because I'm choosing to access it. I'm choosing to show up, put it out there to the universe, let myself see, let the universe see, and the universe is saying to me all the time, I know what you want. What are you going to give for that? And because I'm clear on what I want to give, because of what Napoleon gets you to do in the book, Think and Grow Rich, therefore, every single day, I'm able to check in on my goals and go, what action did I take towards this goal? Was that action aligned with the goal? Was the affirmation, was the physical, the spiritual, the mental, was it all aligned with achieving that goal? Am I on course based on what I want to achieve, or am I drifting away? Is that goal important to me, or is it not important to me anymore based on how I'm shifting? And that ability to be aware of all of that, I can only say, as I said, on my experience, has significantly impacted my life, significantly. And that's the power of it. And it's free for us all to use. And in many cases, because it's free, people don't use it. And it's a shame because it's a powerful tool.
That's the hypnotic rhythm that Napoleon Hill was talking about in Outwitting the Devil. Most people slip back into not actually putting the time and effort into thinking about what it is that they really want. And so if you don't think about what you really want, you end up with the answers like those guys in the audience. They're, oh, I don't know what I'd do with it. So then it obviously doesn't happen.
Absolutely, Tony. 100%. Is there anything that anybody would like to share if they want to share their affirmations before we wrap this up?
I can tell you a little story about when I made this happen, and that was for years. Have I got a minute? For years, I used to have a photograph of the Arc de Triomphe in Paris on my mirror because I always wanted to go there, and I'd never been to Paris. Now I'm from Jersey in the Channel Islands, which is in the world terms is a stone's throw from Paris. It's just off the French coast. It's part of Britain, but self-governing. And for me to get to Paris would have really been quite easy. Yet every time I tried to get there, something would happen. I was sick, or another time I had a weekend booked. I was going to go and watch a concert in Paris, and fog came in. We used to get a lot of fog in the English Channel, and that meant all the flights were grounded and we couldn't go. So various attempts to get to Paris, it never happened. All the years that I was living, till I was 24, living in Jersey, moved to Perth, Western Australia. So now Paris is quite a long way from Perth. It's the other side of the world, right? And yet I still had this picture of the Arc de Triomphe on my mirror. And I repeatedly imagined myself sitting at a cafe on the Champs-Elysees and eating a croissant and enjoying a French hot chocolate, and I had this really visual imagery in my mind of what this was going to feel like, and looking up the Champs-Elysees there, and there's the Arc de Triomphe at the end of it, And yet I thought, how the hell is this going to happen? I ended up in Perth with a mortgage and kids and, a job that I was stuck going to, and thinking, how the hell am I ever going to get the money together and the chance to go all the way back the other side of the world and go to Paris? Well, I don't know. Years later, and it's a little sad, but my marriage had broken up, and I'd moved out and I was sharing a house with some guys. I still had that picture in my room, prominent where I was going to see it. And then, sometime later, I met this other girl who ended up becoming my second wife, fell madly in love with her, and decided I was going to go chasing her back across the world, and flew back to London to see her. And we decided then to go for a weekend away to Paris. And I found myself sitting at a cafe on the Champs-Elysees, eating this croissant, drinking this hot chocolate, and there was the Arc de Triomphe right there. And I was just pinching myself. I had goosebumps. It was just amazing, because I had no way of foreseeing, when I set that goal, how on earth life would take me all through these twists and turns, and I would end up back there doing the very thing that I wanted to do. Yet it happened. And I had another one like that with the pyramids. I always wanted to go to the pyramids, and I had a picture of one of the pyramids on my mirror for years, same thing. From when I was about 11, I'd wanted to go on this school trip with my friends where they went to visit the pyramids. They got off the cruise ship at Cairo and went and saw them. And I couldn't go. My parents couldn't afford to send me on the trip. But one of my friends brought back this photograph and gave it to me, and I kept it since I was 11 years old. Well, finally, again, when I was probably in my 40s, I reckon, early 40s, the opportunity came up to go on a dive trip to Egypt and dive in the Red Sea. And we thought, great, while we're doing that, we can do all the Egyptology. And once again, I found myself actually going inside that very pyramid that I'd had a photograph of my whole life. It was like the realization of a life goal. And again, there was no way that I could have possibly foreseen how this would come about, but I knew that it would one day. And I just kept that belief that I'm going to make this happen. I don't know how, I don't know exactly when, but it will come to fruition. So it's very, very powerful, this stuff. Don't underestimate it.
Yeah, I know John Azaroff had shared that in The Secret, if you anyone has seen the movie The Secret. And if you have the opportunity to talk to Bob Proctor or Dr. John DeMartini, they tell you that a lot of what they shared was removed from The Secret, the movie. So they had a very strict thing that they wanted to cover. That's why Wayne Dyer wasn't in it. They wouldn't cover a lot of the stuff that needed to be shared, so Wayne refused to be in it. However, in one of the things, John Azaroff is talking there, and when he had moved into this house, he hadn't unboxed some boxes, and his son said to him, "What's in this box?" And he pulled out a vision board. And on the vision board was the exact house that John Azaroff was living in. It was his dream house, and he realized, wow, like you think of the power of manifestation, and what aligns with you and where you go in. And as I said, everything has to align based on the actions and the clarity around it all. So even when Jim Carrey shared that with Oprah in an interview around him earning $10 million, and he said, I didn't just write the check and then sit on the couch and eat a sandwich. I actually did the work and showed up, and it manifested into $10 million. And you think the power of that, and most people would just say, "Oh, what a load of crap. It's not," and they're going to say, "It wouldn't happen for me," which is a self-worth thing. Now, they won't admit it, but it's a self-worth thing. If we don't believe it's going to happen to us, and yet that's something we maybe desire, we've got to say, well, hang on a minute. What's going on? Where's the disconnection?
Yeah, and Tony, you said you knew, like you didn't know how it was going to happen, and you just, as a young child, had the picture there. You didn't even have the internal desire fully embodied, you just knew.
Yeah, I just had absolute faith, just trusted in the universe. I'm going to make this happen one day.
So you didn't need to do an affirmation.
Well, there was an affirmation. Yeah, I didn't consciously say speak out an affirmation every day, but I had the picture and I looked at the picture every day. So in my mind, I'm like Martin. I'm a visual learner. The picture was the symbolism for me. So I didn't necessarily actually have to speak the words out loud, but just
body knew.
Took it in. Yeah,
that was the heart, Callie, like you were talking about.
Your body knew because your desire was true, and your body knew without you having to do anything. It just came.
Yeah. Into it. And like I said, at various times, even just thinking about that on a logical level would seem ridiculous, that it was like way beyond the realms of possibility if you looked at it logically in my circumstances at the time, yet still it came to fruition.
Yeah, I just wanted to touch on the what you were saying about The Secret earlier, Martin. I've read the book, I've seen the movie, and it did introduce me to Bob Proctor and whatnot. But one of the impressions that book left with people is, oh, so I just sit on my ass and wish, and it'll come. And that's why people like naysayers are like, that stuff doesn't work, because they never took the time to understand the whole process. It's just, oh, so I just sit and wish upon a star and things fall out of the sky on me. So I think that was one misleading thing about The Secret. If you weren't open-minded and fully understanding, open to personal development in general, that the change has to start with you. Tony, when you finally got to Paris and whatnot, did you have a sense of deja vu almost, because you had thought about that trip so much?
Yes.
That's happened to me sometimes with smaller things that I've manifested, that it's like, wow, this has happened. Well, it's been happening in my brain for a year. That's why, but
yeah, it was like a returning. It wasn't like going somewhere for the first time. It was like returning there, as if I had been there before.
That's such a cool feeling, isn't it? It's just, it really is pretty awesome.
That's beautiful. Well, look, I just want to take the time to say thank you, everyone, for for showing up, being here with us all and helping create this space, and the incredible shares that have taken place. Even just being a part of and listening, the energy in the room is what it's about, and we all bring our own unique energy. So I've received a lot of value, so I want to thank each and every one of you for that. It's been a very, very empowering call. I was excited when it came up for me around Affirm Your Way to Success, and was curious to know where we all are. And it just goes to show there's different angles and And I'm confident to say we've all grown through this experience to find where we're at and what works for us, but certainly implement anything else. So those of you who haven't yet accessed the abundance game, I really encourage you to do so and just see it's everything around, especially in the personal development area, is what it is for you. So I do what I do based on what's right for me. It's not the only way. It's what suits me best. So, but I'd encourage you to go in there and have a look and access it, and especially with Mark Santos, who created the Noble Goldman platform, where he is at in regards to himself and the work that he's done, and coming from the space that he comes from, it's very clear to see that this guy is truly aligned with not only himself, but the universal laws, with where people are going. His ability to connect with people on whatever level they're at is incredible. And that's where I feel what he's able to do in regards to giving us tools to use to help us is because he's coming from many different areas, physically, mentally, spiritually, and so on. So I'd really encourage you guys to access that. If you're not doing so already, it's free. It's a free tool. Get in touch with a person who's told you about it or shared it with you, because there you have, everyone has a unique link. You can't access it without going through a unique link. But thank you so much to everybody. Remember, those of you on the call, as you're listening, the Your Desired Success Facebook group is there to share your 3 big takeaways. It's really good to reevaluate the whole call yourself, share what was big for you, put it out there. We all get different things. We all pick up on different things that resonate with us. I've got my 3 takeaways there, and I look forward to seeing you again on the call. We've got another call tomorrow night at 5:30 Perth, Western Australia time. But otherwise, we'll be here a week again from today. So thank you. Have yourselves a wonderful day, evening, wherever you are in the world. And we will speak all again very soon.
Bye.
Everyone.
Bye for now.